Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our next SRO Seminar and live web simulcast, 5 Ways to Reach the Top of Google. I'm Alan Falcon, CEO of Cumulus Global, and we're glad you're joining us here remotely over the internet as well as live and in person from the floor of the Central Mass Business Expo. For those of you on the simulcast, you'll notice at the top of your screen or to the right-hand side there are icons that are part of our GoToWebinar system here. If at any point in time during the presentation you have any questions, click on the questions icon and open the window. That's the best way to ask us a question because it'll let us answer them and make sure we get all your questions answered before you wrap up. Right now I'm going to hand it over to Matt Ward, CEO, founder, and all-around guru at inConcert Web Solutions, who's going to talk about 5 ways to reach the top of Google.
Thank you very much, Alan. All right. Thank you, Alan Falcon from Cumulus Global. We got a great audience here. Thank you. Yeah. So everybody had a good lunch, I presume, and we're going to go through the top 5 ways to reach the top of Google. So we do have some participants online, and so we are recording this to play it back online so you guys can watch it later and know that you were actually here. So that's great. So this is me. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the owner of inConcert Web Solutions. Started in 2002. We design and develop effective websites for small to medium-sized businesses and nonprofits. I've been published in the Worcester Business Journal often, including last week on an interview related to the SEM-Alt bot on your website that is ineffectively increasing the statistics on Google Analytics. So if you didn't know that, you should reconsider that. And I've been a previous speaker at the Central Mass Business Expo for the last 4 or 5 years. One time with John DePietro, who's standing here going, with me. And we did have a very big full room that year. That was on sales. So tip number 1, and this is only going to be a really quick webinar, so John is not going to leave because it's only going to take 10 minutes to get through this. And by the way, if you have questions, feel free to ask the questions in the questions panel. Tip number 1 is quality content. So how do you get quality content? Google says it's got to be fresh content. Google says it also has to be relevant content. And Google says it has to be quality content. So real quick, fresh content is something rather done more often, right? So every month, every week. Relevant is relevant to your industry. And quality is meaning the content by which you write is not just garbage, but good quality content associated with your business. So tip number 2, page speed. A lot of people don't know this, but page speed is quickly becoming a ranking factor for Google. So you do need to check your speed. You can do so within Google Webmaster Tools, and you can look at possible ways to improve it. Sometimes it's streamlining the code, lowering image files, things like that. Tip number 3, geocentric content. So if you focus on a primary area like the state or the county or even the region, you want to use those terms in your content. It makes more sense, right? Why? Because people search geocentric if they fail to find what they want without the geo term. So if somebody searches for internet provider or business bank, they're going to get global results from around the world. But if they search for Central Mass Business Bank, then they're going to get more localized results. Central Mass Internet Provider, they're going to get local results. Tip number 4, check your page titles. You don't want that untitled document up there, which basically means it was unnamed, nor do you want it to be very standard. They do make the page unique, and they need to reference the content on the page. They also need to be relevant to the content. So just referencing the content is one thing. If I build additions, and I say additions, that's one thing. But are they relevant to the content on that page? If my page is actually talking about, maybe 2 or 3 sentences talk about additions, but the rest of the content talks about renovations, that's a problem. That's not the same thing. They should be before the business name. In most cases, people are putting the business name up here in the top where the word Mozilla Firefox is. That'll come after the business name. So they use the title, then a hyphen, then the business name. They should come after that. Create inbound links, tip number 5. So inbound links to your website are basically a big factor in search engine optimization because it shows authority. People are kicking back to you the inbound link. You know, they're saying that your website is important, and this is why we're linking to you. .edu links are considered gold in Google's eyes. The reason why is because it's incredibly hard to get a reference from a .edu site. So if you went to school and you're an alumnus there and they have a repository by which you can put a link in their website, you should do so. For a small business, that's a huge factor. And quality over quantity is always better. It's highly important to make sure that you are getting the quality link over the quantity. You don't just want to say, oh, I'm going to build I'm going to build 50 links a day. That's not worth it, right? You want to get one good link or one good link. And then there's no need to exchange links, but you can if you have to. So if somebody says, I will only give you a link on my website if you give me one on yours, then that's probably okay to do. But don't get into link farms and link exchanges. Those tend to actually hurt you more than help you. All right, so that was a really quick webinar. As I said, it was only going to take 5 or 10 minutes. So now we're going to open up the floor here to questions. We're also going to open up the webinar online to questions. And we've got a few people out there, so go ahead and type in your questions. I don't see any just yet. Do we have any questions here on the floor about ranking?
Oh, you're very thorough. Thank you.
Very thorough. No more questions? Alan, do you have a question? No questions. Okay, any questions online? All right, no questions online. So what we're going to do is go ahead and end the webinar now, and you all receive this was recorded, so if you want to watch it, I know a couple of people came in late, so if you want to be able to watch it and the recorded version later on, you can go ahead and do so.